We're live. Are we
We
live?
are live. That
Oh, we're
is,
live.
we are getting better at this, man. I gotta say,
We're live.
Carlos.
Well, I was waiting for the little yellow light to come on. Didn't come on.
The yellow light. So here we are.
Yellow.
So, morning zoo today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Friday Hangouts with Carlos and Bob. My name is Carlos Castellanos, founder of DrawnBySuccess.com. I'm also the co-creator of the Baldo comic strip. And I've got my buddy, illustrator Bob Ostrom, with me today. How you doing, Bob?
Hey, I'm doing great. How's everybody doing out there? Carlos, we have a very special thing going on this week and next week. And I thought, maybe today, as we got together.
We have a special thing going on, you and me?
You and Carlos, you and I.
Is this news? Is this news? We're breaking real special news here. You and I have something going on.
We have something going on, and it's not about that sweater.
Hey, it's cold down here in Florida.
I know.
It's like a snappy 58 or 59 degrees out here.
He's got the fuzzy slippers on too.
You should have saw me an hour ago. I was all bundled up. I had a hoodie on and everything.
Had the hat on. Yeah.
Yeah, I was all geared up, man.
Yeah, so we got this special thing happening. This is kind of a continuation of our last show. Last week we were talking a little bit about things you could do when you were slow, and this week we're going to talk about how to get your year started, how to start planning out for what you want to have happen. Maybe we're going to take a look at some of the things that you did last year, maybe some stuff that you could do better. But we've got this thing called the blueprint here, this artist success blueprint that we're rolling out here, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But first, I think what we should start by saying is, if you guys want to go and grab a copy of that, there'll be a link in today's show notes where you can get a copy. It's absolutely free. This thing is going to really get you thinking about where you want to go and what you want to do.
Yeah, this is something Bob and I put together a few years ago, and we did it for us, and then we figured we'd share it with other people, because especially during the end of the year or the new year, where people are trying to make resolutions and trying to figure out, because resolutions never work. I mean, they hardly ever pan out the way you hope. But we figured we'd put this thing together and kind of help you create a long-term meaning 12 months out into the year, and kind of prepare stuff that you want to do, and kind of identify, things that didn't work last year, and really get into the nitty-gritty of maybe why things didn't work out, or why you didn't take action on certain things. And it delves deep into the mindset and stuff like that, and also planning out your year in terms of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, whether it be a new project, personal project, or increase your income, or increase the amount of clients you're working for, or target a specific client, type of client. So that's something that we put together. And the blueprint, if I remember correctly, is about 2.5 hours worth of audios. I think there's like 4 audios in there, and there's 3 sets or 3 series of worksheets for you to work through. It's pretty extensive, and we've had a lot of great feedback over the years with a lot of people taking it and making some some decent strides in what they're wanting to do, and being able to identify where they fell short in years prior.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I sat down to work on this last night. I think you and I talked about this yesterday, and I said, yeah, I want to make sure that I get myself familiarized with this thing, and I think I'll go ahead and fill this out tonight. And so I forgot that this is not a half-hour process. This is this is one of those things where you really want to sit down and think and focus on what you're doing. You don't want to blast this thing out in a half an hour, because you can't. It's just not possible. There's a lot to this. It's really going to get you thinking, and it's gonna point you in a direction, I think, and I'm hoping that when you guys start to fill this out, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to point you in a direction that you may not have thought of. And a lot of times we make the mistake of trying to keep all this stuff in our head. Let's see, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. When you can actually start to sit down and document this stuff and really start to think it out, it's going to make some changes for you. And I think that what I'm going to do here, Carlos, is I'm going to slate some time this weekend to really sit down with this thing and give it a good work over.
Yeah, if one of the things that I find useful about it is that a lot of times, we say we want to do certain things, and there's a particular reason why we never get to it. And this helps you kind of identify those things. Sometimes it's really not something that you really want, or maybe that you've got certain hangups about completing. You know what I mean? So this will help you identify some of those things. And like you said, it's not a 20-minute thing that you're just gonna breeze through. It actually makes you think about where you are and where you really want to be. I'll share. I think I've shared this story with you guys before. A few years back, before I launched Waldo, I had left illustration completely because I had been in the business for about, I think it was like 14 years at that point, and I had a successful business. I had a successful studio. I had people working in the studio with me. Fian Arroyo, one of the guys that, one of our friends that we've interviewed before, he used to come into the studio all the time and work with me out there. But along the way, at some point, I lost track of my focus and the clientele that I was serving, and I ended up just going along with the projects that were coming in. And I ended up, after a few years, being really unhappy with the kind of projects I was starting to take on, and I didn't even realize how I got there. And looking back on it, it's because in a large way, I was, I just thought of myself as an illustrator, and I just illustrate, just take on jobs, right? But I lost the focus of what I wanted to illustrate and what kind of an illustrator I wanted to be and the kind of work that made me happy. And I really just ended up really miserable. I just ended up leaving the field altogether for about a year and a half or two. And then I came back after stepping away, and that time away actually gave me the insight to figure out, okay, where I went wrong, where I went off the path, and kind of get refocused to what I wanted to do without the hassle and without the stress of having to make the office rent doing illustration that I didn't like. So I was kind of caught up in that. So when I came back with fresh eyes, with a fresh direction, and I was able to then create the Baldo strip, and because that was a focus that I wanted to do. I wanted to leave a legacy for my family in terms of all the experience and the talent that I had, and kind of bring that together and create something that was more significant other than just doing client work. So in a sense, this blueprint is a lot of that. It helps you focus on what you really, really want to do, and it helps you map out how to get there. But it's not just superficial. It goes deep. It's emotional. I think you and I both know, Bob, that if you're just looking at something superficially, unless you make an emotional connection with something deep, inside, you're not going to take the action that's required to get those things done. When I finally decided to freelance many years ago, it was an emotional block that I broke through that caused me to finally make freelancing work. And it was the idea of being so pissed off of having to be in rush hour traffic. And that day I decided was the very last time I was going to do that, no matter what. And I just feel it to this day. It was just that emotional trigger. And this program, hopefully, if you you're gonna get out what you put in. It's gonna dig deep. It's gonna be painful sometimes, looking at stuff that you may not want to look at, and may cause you to change a direction that you thought was the direction you were supposed to go in, and finally realize maybe that's not the direction that's right for you at this point in your life. So.
Yeah, and the reason that the reason I was kind of laughing is because you and I were talking on the phone the other day, and we started to get into some of that kind of stuff, and there is a lot of emotion that goes with it, and I think it's one of those things that sometimes we avoid facing that kind of stuff, but it's really important to address that because this is what's going to make the change. If you're struggling or if you're stuck or whatever, this is that thing, when you have to step up and face that thing and say, hey, you know what, maybe this isn't working, or that kind of thing. And so when you started to talk with me a little bit the other day, and we were kind of drilling down, I started to think, and I was like, wow, what am I doing here? Where am I going in the direction that I really want to go? And am I doing?
You were getting free coaching from me, Bob.
I did. I got like an hour out of you, man.
Man, you're such a weasel. I'm still trying to figure out how you talked me into that one.
I didn't. We just started talking, and then we kind of headed in that direction. But yeah, okay. Look, I'm gonna tell you one thing here. You're definitely at the top of my Christmas card list this year. But if you guys if you guys, look, this is one of those things I think that is really something that you should, when you sit down and you start to dedicate some time to this, think about where you're headed with this stuff, and maybe talk to a friend about it too. Because as you and I talked, Carlos, I started to think a lot about things that I hadn't really considered, and then you were bringing up some questions and some things about where do you want to place your time and that kind of stuff, and it really got me thinking about things that I hadn't thought about on my own. So good idea. Maybe if you once you get this thing filled out, or as you're filling it out, is grab a buddy and talk a little bit about some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because I think a lot of us, me included, we get an idea or we want to do something, or even when we start freelancing, or if you've been freelancing for a while, if you kind of look back at when you started, you just when you want to start working, you first think of, okay, let's get some mailers going, let's just start contacting some people, let's throw a portfolio together, let's get a website up, and just start pumping that out, right? And we never really give thought, because those are the mechanical things that we figure we start our business with. But when you do that without analyzing what you really, really want first, I think sometimes we move in a direction that maybe we're not intended to move in. We're doing things because we think those are the things we're supposed to be doing, and not really analyzing if that's really what you really truly want. I mean, you have your choice of building your business the way you want, and there's a lot of illustrators out there, friends of ours, that are kind of struggling, because things are changing quite a bit in the last few years. Yeah, so the markets are changing. The resources that many of our clients have increased in terms of their options. So you have to be more than just an illustrator, more than just a creative. I think you have to have something else that's driving you, that you kind of bring into the mix to have you stand apart. You have to have your own voice, not only in terms of your artistic sense, but your own voice in terms of the kind of business that you want to do, the kind of business that you want to run, and the kind of people you want to work with, and the kind of problems you want to solve. So I think that's what's going to ultimately set you apart in today's day and age. And if you're not doing the work, the inner work, to really kind of figure out what makes you different, not just from a creative standpoint or your style, and what you're bringing in emotionally and what you really want to do, I think you're gonna be at a disadvantage. And these, like you said, these are the kind of things that a lot of people don't like spending time on, because they don't feel like they're really going to make a big difference. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like something tangible, like creating business cards and sending out a mailer. You know what I mean? It's a lot of internal stuff and just kind of on paper and thoughts and kind of sorting things out. But really, it's the first step that you really need to take before you start doing all of that. I spoke to an artist a couple of weeks back. We were talking about a couple of different things about her business, but one of the things that she brought up, that she was asking me if I thought it was a good idea to spend. She was going to spend like $1,000 or $900 on branding, on a rebranding direction, for logo and stuff like that. And after talking with her, we realized that she's not even really clear what kind of work she wants to do. And I talked her out of spending the money on the branding, because it really doesn't make any difference at this point, because her focus wasn't where it needed to be yet. And since then, she's changed her mind about two or three times about the direction that she was going to go in. So she could have spent $1,000 on branding and been going off in a different direction, and probably committed to that direction because of the money that she already invested, and going down a road that she may not have been happy with. So those are the kind of things that I believe this blueprint will help you clear up.
Yeah, and I think it helps get you organized too. One of the things that happens a lot of times, and I was talking with one of my students this morning, is that you get into a situation where you start to reach for shiny objects. Like you and I were talking about this the other day when we were on the phone. Is you see, like we were talking about the speed of the internet. You see, like, bang, somebody's done something really successful. Hey, I could do that, but you don't realize that a year of planning went into that, or 6 months, or however long it took them to get to that spot. Just because you saw it that morning doesn't mean that kind of stuff happens overnight. It takes a lot of careful planning just to get yourself in the right space to make those kind of things happen for you. So
Right.
I think this is going to address some of those shiny object issues and really get you to start planning things out.
Yeah, so that's part of the blueprint. It's the the mental side and the mindset side of it, and why you really want to try to do something, and kind of analyze why you've been doing what you've been doing up to this point, and what kind of changes you might have to implement or want to implement moving forward. The second part of that is scheduling out your next 12 months, so that you can actually take action on the things that you've decided that you want to do. And a big part of this, you alluded to this earlier, is doing this with a friend or doing this with someone to stay accountable. I would recommend, and I would highly suggest that you share the link. And if you've got if you're an illustrator, an artist, a graphic designer watching this, chances are you have a handful of friends that are also creatives. Have them download it with you and take the program while you're doing it, because there's nothing better than doing it with someone else, especially if it's a good friend of yours that you can share information back and forth, and you'll be able to create like a small little synergistic little mastermind going on, and not only for accountability but also to get some feedback in terms of how you see moving forward and how other people see some things for you, because they might be able to identify things for you that you don't see for yourself.
Yeah, that's true, and that's one of those things that we were talking about before, this buddy system thing that I'm starting to plug in over at Bob Teaches Art. Got a special offer going now for tutoring for people to take the tutoring sessions together. So I'm giving a little discount on the price for people who sign up together to do that kind of thing. And I think this is another one of those kind of situations where working together is really going to be beneficial.
Yeah. So do that. I mean, if you haven't downloaded the blueprint already, go ahead and download it. You can go to, do I have my lower third? I don't have my lower third. What happened to my pants, Bob?
I don't know, man.
I lost
You turned
my lower
it
third,
off.
man.
What's up with that?
Let me see. DBS blueprint. No,
Well, you can.
hashtag.
Hey, wait. Before
Yes.
you get all hung up on like where's that link and stuff.
Right.
Before the show, I posted it over on Drawn by Success. So if you go to Drawn by Success, you'll see that we have a banner up top. Just click on that banner. That'll take you right to the download. So
Okay,
go to
there we go.
drawnbysuccess.com and you're good to go.
DrawnBySuccess.com. Okay. So also, and we've come up with a scheme.
We've been scheming, yeah.
to encourage people to share this thing, not only because we want to get it into as many hands as possible and try to get as much input on this thing as possible, because obviously the more people with different backgrounds are taking this, and we're able to open up that line of communication with people, we learn in the process as well. I mean, from other people's experiences and what other people are going through, so it helps us learn as well. So we want to get it into as many hands as possible, and we've devised a little thingamajig here. Where is it? Are you
talking about the hashtag thing?
The hashtag DBS Blueprint.
Oh,
so
nice. I like that. Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and share it on social media, Facebook, whatever, and Twitter. And if you share the link, or if you share the link to the blueprint, put it in the hashtag DBS Blueprint, and we'll of course be able to track it. We're talking about this like it's something new, and it's like hashtags have been around for like a year.
How do hashtags work again, Carlos?
We're just catching on. We're kind of slow.
Yeah.
But anyway, use the DBS Blueprint hashtag. We'll be able to track you, and we'll take everybody who's. How do you want to do it? Everybody that's shared it, who shared it the most.
No, we're gonna do like whoever shares it will be put in the drawing, and then we'll do like we'll pick randomly from that. I think that's the best way to do it.
All right.
But I'm not saying. Look, I'm not going to say that if you share it more than once, maybe your chances get a little better. But hey, you never know.
we may or may not be looking at that. So.
but the idea here, is to grow our community. We want you guys to start to be able to interact and to work with each other, and it's a big part of, I think, my push for next year is to really start to pair people up and get them to start working with each other and benefiting from that sort of interaction, because it's just so much stronger and better to work with another person than it is to just kind of go it alone.
Yeah, it's more fun. I mean, a lot of this stuff gets pretty heavy, and if you have to do it by yourself, I'm gonna go on a limb and say it maybe gets boring at some point, maybe
Boring? No, no,
because it
nothing is
causes you to
boring.
think, and sometimes you don't really want to think, you know. But if you're doing it with someone, I think it encourages you to keep going and see it through. So I think that's really the key. Almost anything is just to get a buddy system going. So
Yeah.
anyway, the DBS Blueprint hashtag, right? And what are they going to get, Bob?
Okay.
When
All
we
right.
choose our
So
winners?
all right, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is, Carlos. I am going to pony up for the winner for who we randomly select, which may or may not be the person that shares the most DVS links, but we'll do a random drawing, and whoever we'll have two winners. I'm going to pony up on my side a half-hour session with me, a half-hour online tutoring session with me, or in person if you happen to be here in the Raleigh area, a half-hour session. To learn Photoshop, Illustrator, or InDesign, or if you want to talk about a special project that you're working on, like a children's book or something like that, I'll help you through that. But you get a free half-hour session with me, and that's, Carlos, that doesn't go cheap, man. That's a pretty good prize.
It doesn't. What's the value on that? What's the value on a half hour of your time?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna
at about like $2,000 at this point.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's really a good thing to talk about right here on the. But I would say that time will be valuable to you, and I'll talk with you, pretty much about wherever you want to go with this thing. But you can focus on the software, or you can focus on getting your project out. Either way, I'm cool with that. I work with people who do both. So yeah, half hour with me online at Bob Teaches Art.
Okay, cool.
What do they get with you, Carlos?
Well, and if they're local in North Carolina,
yeah,
like close to you, and they get to see you like in person. I believe they'd probably be able to get a lunch out of you too if they go to.
I might buy you a popsicle.
Take them to Five Guys.
Yeah, I'll meet you. Yeah, we'll hang out in the parking lot at Five Guys. Yeah.
Well, and for me, I'll give away a free half hour of in-depth coaching to kind of look at your business, kind of what I did with you the other day, and kind of try to help answer any questions that you might have, and look at your business and your direction, and really just you can ask me whatever you want in that half hour, and I'll answer it. So.
Yeah, and I think before the show you mentioned if somebody is in your area and gets that half-hour coaching, you'll go to their house and cook dinner for them, right?
It'll be a Cuban meal.
Carlos is a pretty good cook, so I'd take him up on that one.
Or I just might pick up a piece on the way there.
All right, so what do we got to do? So you got to go onto Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. Pop up that hashtag, the one that's underneath Carlos's name right there, DBS Blueprint, and then you're automatically in the drawing.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will. When are we going to choose those? Are we going to do that next week? We're going to announce those next week on the show, because we got a good show coming up next week too.
Yeah. What we can do is we can announce it on the. We're gonna have a live Friday call, where everyone who downloads the blueprint will get a register. I'll send out the registration link, and everybody can, whoever wants to be on the call can register to be on the call. That way, I'm not sending emails to people who aren't necessarily interested in being on the call, and they're not. Right. I'm not hassling people. So I'll send out a link where if you're interested in being on the live call, you can register for that. And what we'll do is we'll be taking questions from people that are taking the blueprint and have gone through it, and that maybe have some questions. So it'll be like a 1 hour Q&A/coaching session. So we'll give them feedback on answer any questions, and maybe give them some feedback as well in terms of what their some of their sticking points.
Right. Okay. And then I just wanted to make a mention.
And we'll just announce the winners on that call, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to make mention of one other thing. So we had originally slated a friend of mine who's a lawyer to come in and talk with us. I think we're going to do that in January. I wanted to give everybody some time to get their questions in. We're going to talk about copyright law and protecting your artwork and all that kind of stuff. So we got that rolling in January. We'll put up. I think what we should do, Carlos, is put up like a little special page for that, so people can maybe write in some questions, things that they have concerns about, legal issues that revolve around artwork.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a cool show too. But I like the direction that we're headed in with this thing here.
Okay.
Growing this community and getting people involved and all that kind of stuff. So that's
Well,
cool.
we've gotten some good feedback from people, so and good support for it. So over the past few years, so I think it's something that we will continue to put out there and do. And I enjoy it because I learn a lot from just talking to a lot of the different creatives and a lot of different situations that they find themselves in, and kind of things that I would have probably never considered or was aware of, and it helps us learn a little bit. So
Yeah, all good, man, all good. So half an hour with Carlos and a free dinner, and then and then a half hour with me, and maybe you get your picture taken with me in the parking lot of Five Guys.
So is it gonna be, so what are we gonna do? Is it gonna be one winner or two winners or what?
There's going to be one winner for me and then one winner for you, right? We can't give we can't give one person a full hour of.
Okay, they get
be too much. That would blow their minds, Carlos.
Right, they can choose then.
they can choose
whatever they want.
Okay, so we're going to pick two winners, and then we got like one winner and one runner-up, right? So the winner gets to choose, and then the runner-up gets the booby prize.
Right. no, we'll let people choose whatever they want.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Okay. And maybe for okay, let's leave it. Let's not complicate things. So then I won't do anything.
Everybody's gonna be like, well, I don't even want to join that contest now.
No.
Carlos isn't gonna cook me dinner.
I was gonna say Bob was gonna start handing out money,
but. All right, man. Let's not muddy the waters here.
So anyway, that's what we're doing. So again, we would appreciate it a lot if you enjoy the hangouts that we do and you enjoy what Bob and I are usually talking about, and you want to help us spread the word. We'd really appreciate it. Share the link, share the blueprint, and we'll pick a winner on Friday.
That sounds great. I'm looking forward to that. We don't qualify, right? I was hoping for another.
We already have access to each other. So.
I was hoping for another coaching session with you, Carlos.
You can always create a fake Twitter handle or something.
Yeah. Who's this guy over here?
I never heard of him before. All right, so cool. So anyway, I'm gonna go throw on a jacket because it's cold out here.
All right, let's wrap up then.
Anything else that you want to talk about, real quick?
No, I think we got to everything.
Loose?
Yeah, I think we got to everything. I had I had a great morning session with my student today, and we were talking about some other fun things that I'm going to do over on the Bob Teaches Art site. So yeah, come visit me over there, and I think we're going to really get that thing rolling in the new year. That's part of my plan is to grow that site a little bit too.
All right, cool, very good, awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us. I know it was a short show today. But we just wanted to hit home the point about the blueprint because that's something that we're kind of gearing up for and kind of busy doing that. If you do it, allow yourself time to do it. Find a nice quiet spot in your home where you're not going to be tormented by family members and distracted because honestly you're going to need the time. And you might not want to sit there and go through it all in one shot. You might want to just break it down. We got it broken down into the 3 different parts. So
yeah, there's three pages to fill out, right? And I think don't we have we got
well, there's more than 3 pages. There's 3. There's the kitchen phone. We should have gotten off
so
5 minutes
close.
ago.
We almost made
it. we have 3 parts, and I think the first part, if I remember correctly, has probably about 6 or 7 or 8 worksheets in it, and then you have the other 2 parts, which have a couple of worksheets in it, but take the first part and really delve into that one. That one's the one that's going to require the most of your time, and just kind of sit on it, reflect on it a little bit, maybe sleep on it before you head on over to the other parts. And maybe even I've had a couple of people that have emailed me and said it was really informative. It made them think a lot, and they actually had to listen to the first part 2 or 3 times to kind of let it sink in. So.
All good stuff, man.
Okay.
All good stuff.
All right. Thanks again for joining us. Again, this is Carlos Castellanos. drawingbystsuccess.com.
That's Carlos Castellanos in his sweater.
And my sweater, which actually is getting kind of warm in here now. Think about it.
Man, you live in the tropics. What the?
Well, you know, when it drops below 60, Bob, you got to do what you got to do.
I know.
I'm not used to that. So anyway, and then Bob Ostrom signing off. Bob, where can people find you, Bob?
I don't know, man. You just signed me off. You can just tell.
But you look like you're ready to take off somewhere. You got like a flight to Bimini or something?
Yeah, I do. Hold on, man. I got.
Bob looks like a Cessna pilot. There you go.
Got my big cans on here. Yeah, so you guys can find me over at bobteachesart.com, where you can learn about Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and we do a little bit of coaching over there too. So
when he's not flying.
I'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.